Good day, folks. It's DIY Guy 123. Today I'm going to be talking to you about crush washers on fuel injectors. So I have a fuel injector. There's the injector body, and then some kind of a clampy thing here, and then a colliery thing here, and a nut there, and then this nut holds that thing on. And what we have here is a leak between this part, which collects extra fuel and bypass fuel and sends it to the fuel tank, and this part, the big nut down here. And in between there's a crush washer. So what I'm going to do to change it is, first off, whenever you have a diesel fuel system apart, it can be a real bear to get it started afterwards. So I've warmed this engine up hot, or well, as hot as a diesel gets, so that I'll have that much easier of a time when I go to restart it in hopefully like 15 minutes or so. And so I've done that, and several times I've used compressed air to blow the leaky fuel away to verify, yes, it is indeed coming from that crush washer. I was a little intimidated about getting into fuel injectors, so I replaced this line and both clamps just to be sure that wasn't the problem. And so it's not. So I'm pleased to, at least rule that out. And now it's time to take the crush washer apart. So to get at it, you got to release this nut here, which releases this. But this is a hard line, so you got to come back here and look. And of course, the one that I have to release is the hardest one to get to. I hope I don't have to take all three of these off just to get at that one, but we'll see. I took the fuel nut off and I slid it all the way down the line, just back out of the way. So there it is right there. And then I cracked this bottom nut free right here, ever so gently, to allow that to swivel. Now that's out of the way. Then I took this nut off. Then I took this off. And then the crush washer was under there. Now I've already peeled the crush washer off. It's a very flexible, I don't know, aluminum maybe, something. But it was really easy to get peeled off there. Here's my brand new one. So I'm gonna throw and by the way, I've cleaned all this. So I'm gonna throw the brand new one on. I really don't think it matters. There are holes there. I don't think it matters, the orientation. But I'll put it on the same way the old one was, which was in line with the little teeny tiny holes in the center of the injector right there. Don't know if you can see it, but anyway, I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter. And then I'm just going to wipe the bottom of this under here and then slide that back on. Cleanliness is super important when you're dealing with fuel systems, especially diesel fuel, and especially when you're past the injector pump. Like, there's no more filter that's going to clean up your mistakes here. Okay, so I've got the crush washer on and the orientation is set the way I want it. And I'm putting this guy on. And now I'll put this nut back on. There's not like a lot of pressure for that around that crush washer and in these lines. There's really not a lot of fuel pressure there. Kind of surprised it leaked, to be honest with you, because it's an open hose all the way into the fuel tank. So you'd think if it could withstand like 1 PSI, that would be enough to not leak. But anyway, that's what it did. There we go, 19 mil. And so I don't know what the torque should be for this crush washer. I'm gonna give it 30. And if it leaks after I put it all together, I'll give it a little more. So there's 30, for very precise there. And now I am putting the steel line back over top. By the way, when I peeled the steel line off, or when I pulled the steel line off, right down in the hole right in there, it was like rusty diesel in there. Like there was a lot of brown, rusty looking diesel. So I blew it out of there, and now, I don't know why that's like that, but it was. So as I'm tightening that down, I'm giving just rocking that hose a little bit to center it in its little, where it's supposed to be. So now that I've got it in place, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that one down there, and then I'll tighten this one, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've tightened this up down here, and I did have to have the angle, like the wrench at an angle to get at it slightly. Not super enjoying that. It's nice to have your wrench, perpendicular with the, around the axis you're rotating, but anyway, I did what I could to get that tight, and now I've got that tight right over top of the injector, and I'm going to start it up and see if we have any leaks. By the way, I blew it all off with compressed air to make sure that any residual diesel is just blown out of the way. I won't get confused by thinking that's part of the new leak. Okay, I've had the machine running for about 5 minutes now at half throttle or so, and you can see a little smoke coming off of that. That's from where the block's starting to heat, and there's diesel from the previous leak, but that's not from the new leak. So there's nothing really, there's nothing at all to see under that crush washer. We're clean now. And under the other end of the hose that I had to loosen, we're clean there too, dry there too. So that's pretty exciting. Gonna put this air breather hose back on, put its hose clamp back on, and that is how you fix a diesel leak in an injector. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Good luck with your do-it-yourself projects.